Welcome to the Beauty Blend podcast, where we delve deep into the world of beauty from the inside out. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Brittany.
And we have kind of a special one for you guys today. We're going to get more into the spiritual side, and we decided to just kind of really show some of our spiritual gifts, we'll call them, and kind of just give messages for the collective, and especially you guys who listen. I love go that way. So we're kind of excited. So we have a couple little things in store. We can start if we want with my tarot, basically. So I pulled a couple different cards for the collective, or really more specifically on the people who listen to our podcast or will eventually listen to our podcast. So I did pull some tarot and oracle, and I do want to just briefly talk about the difference. Basically, tarot, they kind of say it's like a little bit more specific into a situation, where oracle is more of like a broader picture of things. But you can use them together. You can use them separately. You can use tarot to kind of get specific into a situation. So I would not really consider myself someone who's like specialized in tarot or oracle readings.
I specialize in oracle. No,
I say oracle is easier.
Oracle
I feel like to
for
learn.
me is easier, I think. But
there's more like message reading in tarot. So again, when I'm doing this is like a collective. I already actually pulled the cards ahead of time, so I was more prepared.
I actually don't do any cards in my readings, but I'm going to go off of what you do.
And so it's kind of, I'll just preface this too. Britt and I, we planned this episode and we're like, let's just see what each other kind of find.
Yeah.
And then we'll come together. And when we came together, it's really interesting because it really aligns. And you guys will see that. So this is some of it's going to sound repetitive, but in a good way. So I'll kind of say, maybe I'll just do my tarot first. We'll kind of see where that brings us. And then I'll show. I have several different things. So the first one I pulled from is this Madame Endora's fortune card. I love this deck. It's a tarot card deck, and it's actually my favorite. There's a typical tarot card deck called like the Rider Wyatt one. You'll see that in a lot of different forms. With this one's, think it's just more
I have
specific.
the Rider. What's it called?
The Rider Wyatt.
Yeah.
It's that's the original
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them are based off of that. Sometimes you'll see like little changes to the Rider Wyatt, but this is like, it's a tarot, but I think it's more specific. I personally like, if I'm going to read for something or someone, tends to be my go-to deck, and I love it. A spiritual counselor of mine kind of guided me to that one, and I have kind of fell in love with it. So I pulled a card. Did you want to say something about the Rider?
Oh, I love my Rider deck because it's like black and it has like holographic.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So there's like different variations.
There's different variations.
Of that one. Yeah. Okay, so when I pulled this, I specifically initially was like, I just want to do a collective card, especially like it being winter and all that. And I was like, I just want to do a collective. Well, then I was like getting kind of chaotic energy when I was shuffling the cards. Mm-hmm. So I had to get a little bit more specific, and I focused just specifically on people who listen to our podcast or even future viewers of our podcast. Mm-hmm. So and it was able to give me a clear card. So I found the chalice. So this is the card. I'll let you guys look at it.
If you're not on YouTube, you should come look at it.
And it is literally like a golden chalice. That's kind of what the card looks like if you don't see us. Yeah. And at the bottom of the card, it says rejuvenation and fulfillment, which I think was kind of cool because if you think about it in the winter, what are we doing in the winter? It's take a time to yourself to rejuvenate and then become fulfilled later in life. So I'm going to read what the book kind of describes this card as, and I really hope it resonates with many of you. So this says, the chalice is the symbol of rejuvenation, fulfillment, and abundance, designating a period of good health and physical prosperity. The chalice imparts healing energy that replenishes physical and emotional strength, invigorating both body and spirit. The chalice symbolizes a stimulating impetus that restores youthful exuberance and rejuvenates us when we lose momentum. The Grail of the Crusades was a legendary chalice that inspired countless quests and adventures in unknown lands. Sought by many, but held by few, the chalice is a rare and valuable find that eludes all but the most determined. It is a treasure of unequaled value and holds great mystical power. In this regard, the chalice symbolizes the prize at the end of a quest or the realization of a dream. A lifelong goal is within your reach. Replenish your sources and resume your quest with a newfound vigor. Used in rituals, the chalice grants spiritual energy to those who partake of its contents. Among its many powers, it is believed to allow the living to commune with the spirit realm. Your senses are in tune with other worlds. Higher powers heed your summons. The chalice also represents attainment and accomplishment, signifying wishes granted and promises kept. Those who partake with the chalice will be rewarded with plenitude and abundance. You will be bestowed with bountiful good fortune, share your blessings with others. Okay. So I just like this one for the winter. I know it was long-winded. I'm sorry about that. But again, kind of like we're talking about the rejuvenation. I feel like this is huge during this time period. We're taking a minute to just kind of reflect inward and keep working and maybe like rejuvenate ourselves with goals that we've maybe become discouraged with or needed to like continue through, but we're just kind of feeling slow. And just keep doing really what you're doing and don't hesitate to slow down for a little bit, but don't also lose sight of your goals. That's kind of what I felt.
Yeah.
I kind of personally got out of that. I'm sure everybody is going to get maybe a little bit of a different message. I don't know if there's something else like that stood out to you.
There's a few things I want to make sure I remember them all,
but
I'll just trust whatever comes through. But when I tuned into the Akashic records, I was getting something very similar to that. And as you were talking, the guides wanted me to remind me of my own personal story because I think it relates to a lot of people. So I realized the pattern I have, and it used to make me so frustrated and so mad. But like every winter is when I would see like a lull, like in business or I don't know. Like I just felt like I was always like, and then it would pick back up. Kind of like spring, I would see a little bit of like hope, and then by summer, like on full force, and then fall started to taper up, and it was like this pattern. But really, you're just like moving with nature. It's exactly flowing with nature, and don't resist that so much. And actually like take that time to like kind of sort through things, like say like fall cleaning, just like,
I think the resist was the big word there. Don't resist it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are like angry that we're slowing down.
Yeah.
But really we're actually being called to slow down. Yeah. And that is, like you said, we're nature. We are.
Yeah. We're part of nature.
We're animals too. We need to slow down just like all the other animals and even flowers and plants. They all slow down. It's time for us to go inward and slow down as well.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And it doesn't mean things can't come through for you. I actually think it could if we just like let go a little bit.
I think the resistance if we didn't resist that, tried to force things. I think this even said like if you just allow it, it's going to be abundant.
Yeah.
I think that's we're being called to just allow things to
the slowing down, especially in our society, we don't value that. So value that a little bit more. Let it kind of just come naturally, and it will come. And it's not to say you have to wait till spring necessarily.
It doesn't mean stop either per se. Like don't not do things. So it's winter. We're not going to do anything at all. Exactly. That's not going to help. Just keep doing what you feel like you're called to keep doing.
Right.
Don't lose track of what you're wanting to achieve.
Yeah.
And just work in those how it comes to you.
The puppy thing came up.
Yes, the puppy energy. And I think that came up in one of my cards. It's kind of a joke between us.
So I channeled the Akashic records before coming here, and I'm like, there's a puppy. Well, it came through right before coming here again, though. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
That has to do with a different card?
It has to do with a different card, but I'll just get into that card.
Okay.
Cool. I do want to get back to this because it's something that aligns with us. So I pulled, I have two different, they're oracle cards now. They're Moonology decks. So this is just the Moonology Oracle. And I don't know if they teach you to do it like this, but I like to pair it with the other Moonology, which is a manifestation card. So I pulled one from each. I do feel like they align together. So I will read the like standard Moonology card first. I'm sorry, I do know it's kind of a decent amount of reading. I'll try to just highlight. But again, this is kind of interesting. Again, I asked for a collective for the time frame we're in. Usually means like 1 to 3 months. So I felt like it's within like this first quarter, this January through March, the winter time. So for this oracle, I got the balsamic moon, which is like a moon phase. And it says at the bottom, a time for healing. Which again, if you think about winter, what are we doing? We're slowing down and letting ourselves kind of heal.
Yeah.
So this basically says that pulling this card suggests that the past is in the past and a bright future is beckoning. However, before you take your next step, make sure that both feel that the situation is healed. It is not a time to paper over cracks or to simply pretend that everything is okay. Rather, you still need a little more time to heal and soothe yourself and anyone else that may be in need. Then remind yourself that anything is possible if you believe it. This is also time to surrender and wait to hear guidance from the universe. I'm kind of laughing because we keep talking about like resisting.
And it's funny because before you talked, I'm like, wait, I meant to tell them something from before.
Yes.
So it must be related to this because what was coming through, I hate to stop you, but it was about just trusting. And I know that could be
a big one.
Really,
right? Yes.
And it sounds so, I hate to say that word, it seems so blanket statement,
like cliche,
but there's actually a lot to that.
And it's also a lot harder.
It's a lot harder than just to say. Yeah, exactly.
Like genuinely
trusting that it's going to work out.
hard.
Yeah.
Probably my biggest battle
that
in
was
life.
coming through as you started. I'm like, wait, I forgot to mention.
You're like, wait,
kind
pause.
of funny that came through.
Yeah, and this basically is just saying like powerful insights can be had. If you know something isn't good for you, this card is a reminder to surrender. It's crazy. Oh my God, I cannot make this up. Start to work on your belief in your dreams so you're ready when the time comes. So again, slow down right now. The dreams are coming. Just keep doing what you've been doing and surrender that good thing. So I do just like that this gives us like an attune to the moon. It says when one is healed, all are healed. And I think that
when you don't just
powerful.
make it about yourself and you realize by healing yourself, you're healing the collective.
People. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so basically just says like just some bullet points to sum that up if that was like too much for you. It says it's time to let go of the past. Oh. You're about to turn a corner. You need more time to heal. And think about how the situation would look if everyone were healed.
This is off, but for some reason they're coming through with this right now. But it came through when I was channeling before, and I'm like, I don't know how it's going to relate. But this vision of like a battle, but putting the sword, like put the sword down,
wave your white flag almost,
and like stop with battling within yourself or like trying to make things more difficult than they need to be.
Yeah,
like I think a lot of times and especially even when it comes to when it comes to healing, we think healing has to be like this long drawn out process that doesn't necessarily need to be that. I always preach that. Yeah.
I think that is actually a vicious cycle myself.
Yeah. You get into healing
like,
and
you always heal. There's always things. I mean, we are always living life. There's always situations or you notice like triggers, but I agree. There's certain things that you can like kind of close that chapter.
You can get into like a healing cycle where you don't get out of it and you feel like you're never healed enough.
Yes. And it can be dangerous because then you're never really satisfied or happy with what you've done or, but I do think, life, we're always living life. So of course there are things that pop up, but I do think it's safe and okay to close a chapter that you're like, I feel this is healed for me. Yeah. I can move on from that. Yeah. That's totally okay and should actually happen for most people. Yeah. I agree. It's a dangerous cycle that people get into.
But of course, we love healing, but
healing's great. It's a great thing. Just don't overdo it either. Don't stress yourself out that you're so broken.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. There it is.
Yes, the broken.
Yeah.
That was spirit. Yeah. Yep. So pairing that, I like the Moonology with the manifestation oracle cards. I think they're just a great pair. So this is the one that kind of will bring up, we'll talk about the puppy energy, but I like this one. So let's talk about new moon in Leo, and I'll show the card here. And at the bottom, it says shine. And I thought for a second, I was like, shine for what? But I'm also going to bring back into the seasons real quick. Cause that just popped in my head. Shine, spring's coming around. Sunshine's going to start coming back out. So stay with this, but let me read this again. So this says a new day is dawning. So spring's coming around. You're moving from darker times to light. Spring and you are well on your and probably just life, and you are well on your way to your desired outcome.
And I'm also hearing lighter from the healing, like more light
feeling light because you're letting go of things. I like that. Be proud of who you are. Your self-confidence has got you this far, so keep on believing in yourself. Sometimes we have to fake it until we make it, and that's okay too. That's my mantra.
Did we not just say that?
Fake it, baby. You will finally make it. You are on the right track, and the future is bright. In relationships, carry yourself with respect and others will respect you. Whatever challenges you're facing, consider taking a more creative approach. So what I like about this manifesting card is it gives you kind of like a mantra and stuff that you can use, but it also tells you, so manifesting focus, so things to manifest now that we pulled this card. It says the card is an especially good sign for matters related to romance, creativity, children, your own or someone else's, or a situation that requires confidence. That could be something like starting a business or making a leap or leaving something, that you're scared to leave. And then the mindset it wants you to have in this card is to love yourself and step into center stage. Be generous with others, but also be a little bit selfish if you need to be. So don't be afraid to like consider yourself first. I think some people do struggle by focusing on themselves. So it's okay to put yourself first. And then this is what I like about this card. It says your manifestation affirmation. And it says, I am magnificent. I love me. Oh, I love that. And I think that takes a lot for people to truly say and feel. So I think it's a great card to start working on.
Say it again.
I am magnificent because I struggle.
I am magnificent.
And I love me.
And I love me.
Say it one more time.
Repeat after me.
I am magnificent.
I am magnificent.
And I love me.
And I love me.
So yeah, that's
that. Okay. So just to give some background, it does remind me. So when I pulled or read the Akashic records for everyone. Yeah. There's a collective. I was getting puppy and I'm like, this seems so random, but I'm going to write it down. And then when you pulled that card after, I was like, that's very correlated. And what I was getting with that, the puppy energy, you know how they just love you like unconditionally?
They love you. They love everything.
And it's the same for yourself, like to love. And then I got one step further before coming here, my dog came up to me and he was being so sweet. But not only that, he was being so supportive. He kept putting his paw out, like, hold my paw. Mom. And I'm like, and it's a reminder we have, even though we can't see it, and even if you feel the most alone that you ever have in your life, you have unseen guides to support you, that are in your life to support you.
Cheering you on.
And love you unconditionally as well.
And loving yourself unconditionally, which is a very, very hard thing, I feel like, again, for a lot of people to achieve.
Right. So we want to do some tapping for that?
Yes. So we're going to get into some tapping. We do want to kind of chat about tapping a little bit and explain the sequence. I do like to preface when we do a tapping sequence that if you're listening to this while you're driving, you do not have to physically tap on your body. You can actually think, visualize yourself doing the tapping motion, but it's okay if you want to be safe and drive. Do not take your hands off and go crazy tapping, or you can save this and come back to it and do it later. But yeah, so
and what does it do exactly?
So it's kind of clearing the
subconscious
beliefs that you have told yourself or others have told you. You'll notice when we do a tapping sequence, it starts kind of with, we'll say, the more negative phrases.
It's clearing the energy systems.
It clears your meridians. It kind of helps with the energy flow in your body. And then it helps, we've kind of talked about in previous episodes, it helps reframe the way you think. So you'll notice as we progress the tapping, we kind of start with negative thoughts that you probably have told yourself or others have told you. And then we progress ourselves into a more positive kind of reframed mindset about yourself or about a situation, whatever it may be. So you can use this tapping protocol. It's a very standard pattern that we use. You can use it in anything that comes up in your life. Because again, we were kind of what are we going to even tap on? There's so many topics, but based on what we both again separately found, we were both felt drawn and called to do something more about loving yourself. Self-love. That's a big thing. And it's a hard one. I feel for a lot of people.
Helping you heal some of those subconscious things that could be making you feel held back right now.
Yes, I agree.
It'll help push you to that thing that you're manifesting. Yeah. I hate to use that word, blocks.
It is kind of like a block, though.
I know. I just don't.
I think about boulders. You got boulders in your path. We got to move them out of the way.
Yeah,
this is going to help move some boulders. They're not there permanently. And that's actually why I love tapping. It is a really, really simple technique that, like I said, you don't even have to physically tap on your body. You can even visualize it. So if you're at work and you're I'm not going to go at my desk and tap, because I was like that at my old job. I was I can't just tap in the middle of my work day. You can visualize it and you're going to benefit just as much.
And this is a little off topic, but this is what part of what helped me stop picking at my face was I would start tapping instead.
Helped with the anxiety of it all, you feel or just to getting rid of the boulder?
Everything. A lot of things. I think it was more than I would know consciously.
That's true.
Yeah. And I didn't even necessarily have words to say. I would just start. You don't necessarily even have to have words.
Because your body knows.
Yeah, my body just knew. So I would and I didn't even have a specific sequence. I would I knew certain points.
Yeah.
And I would just start, even today, if I get if I see this is a little grotesque, but a dead animal on the side of the road.
Oh yeah, you do.
It triggers me and I'll start just tapping.
We always joke the cancel, clear. Sometimes we'll just tap on that, canceling a negative thought or something that made me sad or that maybe emotionally was a little traumatizing in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's a good, yes. And I know I kind of brought it back to the more physical thing of anxiety, but for me, who I do struggle with anxiety, I have tapping because it kind of gives me it's almost like a nervous tick that you can do, but it's healing. So it kind of gives me a physical outlet to choose instead of anxious. Maybe that's part of what helped.
What helped me, yeah.
So we're going to kind of chat through what the different points are. And if you can't see us, we'll try our best to explain them first. And then when we do our sequence, one of us will lead it and one of us will follow as it's you. So when we start, you always start with a karate chop. So you take one, your right hand for me or whatever, take one hand and on your pinky side of your other hand, of your palm, maybe if I'm not describing this, you can jump in. You use your hand, you can use your fingers or you can use
karate chop.
She literally is karate chopping with basically her two hands. Yeah. I use my 4 fingers on my right hand and karate chop on my left pinky side is basically what I do. And you just keep tapping.
Can you go up to here or does it have to be right here?
You can kind of just stay within that zone. I've always was just taught here. And I want to also preface, we're doing the technique that is emotional freedom tapping. It's EFT. There are other forms of tapping like TFT that they choose different patterns. EFT has just one standard pattern. And I personally just find it easier to teach and do. So that is our karate chop. We'll start with that. We'll do that several times. And then when we get through our phrases, we have several different points on the body that we tap on. And we can talk through those real quick before we do them. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, this is coming through right.
Okay.
Great timing.
That's okay.
But
go for it.
I feel this tapping is going to help people open their throat chakra. Oh, okay. And then also, there's something that has to do with people's intuitive abilities or connecting with spirit that I feel they're giving themselves the permission to.
I like that. And I actually am glad you brought up the throat chakra because, again, I understand if you're at work or somewhere and you can't say it out loud, but if you actually speak this out loud, it's even better.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of forcing yourself to hear it and say it out loud versus just like internally hearing it. Again, you're going to get benefit no matter what, but speaking it into like existence is very powerful. So if you are in a place where you can speak it out loud, I strongly encourage that, and that will help with the throat as well. So I'm glad you brought that up. So real quick, the other points are eyebrow. So you literally like kind of your inside of your eyebrow, you would just tap right on it. We do side of the eye. Oh, my other tip is you can do just one hand, one side. You can do both sides with both different hands, but it's usually easier. Just pick one side, one hand. Does not matter if it's your left or right.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got eyebrow. We have right on the side of the eye, right under your eye, kind of right over that bone there. Under the nose is literally between your lips and your nose. Chin. It's right in that little divot of your chin. Then you do collarbone. So that's actually like the inner side of your like collarbone, kind of right where they would, like your clavicles would kind of meet. So tap there. The weird one is under your arm. I say it's kind of like a monkey. You like kind of tap right, kind of like your side boob or like your rib on the side here. And then top of the head. So just right on the crown of your head. And people are stressed about, you know, how many times.
I don't know why I always want to do two hands.
Yeah, and you can do two. You can do one. Sometimes I'll do both, depending on maybe how big it is too, but it really doesn't matter. The other thing is people are like, how many times should I tap on one zone? Like, it really does not matter. Don't sit and like count. I've heard 5 to 10. I think just whenever the phrase is done.
Our intention at the end of the day.
Yes,
with everything we do, really.
Yes. So I hope that helped the visual. If you're able to see us, we are on YouTube. You can visually do it with us as well. So we're going to get started. This is a self-love tapping sequence. I am going to be looking at my notes during it, but okay. So you always start with the karate chop, and we'll do it 3 different phrases. So go ahead and start tapping on your karate chop and repeat after me. Even though I struggle with loving myself.
Even though I struggle with loving myself.
I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though it is hard to love myself because I don't always feel like I deserve it.
Even though it's hard to love myself because I don't always feel like I deserve it.
I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I believe that I am unworthy for so long.
Even though I believe that I was unworthy for so long.
Today I choose a different way.
Today I choose a different way.
I choose to begin to love and accept myself unconditionally.
I choose to begin to love and accept myself unconditionally.
All right, we're going to go into our pattern. So eyebrow, I struggle to love myself.
I struggle to love myself.
Side of the eye, I don't know how to love myself.
I don't know how to love myself.
Under the eye, I feel so worthless sometimes.
I feel so worthless sometimes.
Under the nose, like I'll never be enough.
Like I'll never be enough.
Chin, like I'm defective.
Like I'm defective.
Collarbone, I am not good enough as I am.
I'm not good enough as I am.
Under the arm, I don't appreciate the greatness of my own being.
I don't appreciate the greatness of my own being.
Top of the head, things keep happening that prove there's something wrong with me.
Things keep happening that prove there's something wrong with me.
Stay at the top of your head. I feel like such a failure.
I feel like such a failure.
Take a deep breath for a second, and we're going to get into the second round. It feels kind of heavy. Okay, so we're going to go back to eyebrow. This feeling, I just can't shake.
This feeling, I just can't shake.
Maybe I didn't have someone to show me what unconditional love was, side of the eye.
Maybe I didn't have someone to show me what unconditional love was.
Under the eye, so I never learned how.
So I never learned how.
Under the nose, I listened to everyone else's definition of love.
I listened to everyone else's definition of love.
Chin, and I learned to hate myself.
And I learned to hate myself.
Collarbone, to not find value in myself.
To not find value in myself.
Underarm, to put everyone else first.
To put everyone else first.
Top of the head, I lived my life believing everyone else was better than me.
I lived my life believing everyone else was better than me.
Back to eyebrow, I am ready to begin loving myself just the way that I am.
I'm ready to begin loving myself just the way I am.
Side of the eye, I now know everyone else hurt me because they were also hurting.
I now know everyone else hurt me because they were also hurting.
Under the eye, their beliefs were about them.
Their beliefs were about them.
Under the nose, I recognize I hid behind this for a long time
I recognize that I hid behind this for a long time.
Because I didn't want to face the pain beneath it.
Because I didn't want to face the pain beneath it.
Chin, but it's time to let it go.
But it's time to let it go.
Collarbone, I recognize I am deserving of loving myself.
I recognize I'm deserving of loving myself.
Underarm, I choose to begin to accept myself just as I am.
I choose to begin to accept myself just as I am.
Top of the head, although it's a new feeling.
Although it's a new feeling.
I'm open to receiving it.
I'm open to receiving it.
All right. Eyebrow. I am choosing to let go of all of the resistance to loving myself.
I am choosing to let go of all the resistance to loving myself.
Side of the eye. I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
Under the eye, I always have been.
I always have been.
Under the nose, I am releasing all of the reasons I have come up with.
I am releasing all the reasons I have come up with.
Over the years, not to love myself.
Over the years, not to love myself.
Chin, I accept myself as I am.
I accept myself as I am.
Collarbone, I am good enough.
I am good enough.
Underarm, it is safe to love myself.
It is safe to love myself.
Top of the head, my heart is full of love.
My heart is full of love.
Awesome. You can take a nice, slow, deep breath in and try to release.
Some of that felt pretty heavy.
That was good. So that is kind of a typical tapping. I hope someone, you benefit from it. Some people may notice like an emotional release from that. That's like a pretty standard. You can even do that again, like keep doing it if you didn't feel like you released everything right away. If some of those phrases like didn't resonate with you, you can kind of change them, adapt them on your own. You really just whatever comes to your head, you can kind of say it. I just strongly encourage kind of ending on a positive and reframing that for you. But yeah, so that's like a typical EFT. Did you notice anything during that, Britt?
Yes. What I think had more of a profound reaction around one.
I did. I took a deep breath and I noticed you were not feeling it.
I wasn't as much.
Heavy.
Some things are a little bit more so than others, but the other one, when you start talking about other people hurting you,
I noticed you got.
That's what got me.
Yeah. That one you said definitely with more passion almost. I feel it. Seriously.
Yes.
Seriously.
I was like, I'm taking the power back.
Which is kind of cool that we both had a different, it was kind of cool to kind of show different parts, like not resonated, but felt maybe more of a release or heavier at that time. I've definitely done some tapping where like all of a sudden my like tears are flowing and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even know.
Same here. Yeah.
That was, so again, let that happen. If that's happening, that's a great release that you need. So that's cool. So I'm curious. I hope everybody else, someone had a section where they noticed
I love that
improvement. So it was a good little technique. I hope you guys enjoyed.
What I like about it is I like to say the word blowing out. Maybe that's not the right word, but it feels like I'm like taking those things that like are running my mind that I'm trying to, and I'm like just saying it, like letting it out and then reframing it at the same time.
I love that part about tapping.
Yeah.
It like allows me
to say those feelings that I'm like making me upset.
Well, and I think we've kind of talked about in episodes like that toxic positivity.
Where you're holding
this like allows you to really just, you can be negative.
Yeah, be negative. Say those things that are bothering you.
Things suck sometimes. Like it happens, but reframe, release it and reframe as you're able.
And like if something comes up like at work or something that's really making me mad, say, even though I feel like this, and say whatever it is. And then say, I deeply honor, love, and accept myself. Yeah. You don't even have to do the full whatever. It
doesn't have to be specifically how we word it today. It can literally be what comes to you. Yeah. Allow yourself. I like that I choose to love and accept myself anyway, because you're telling yourself I'm choosing this path versus like feeling like obligated to, but instead you're making that choice. So I agree. I think it's like a great physical outlet of like releasing that tension. And then it allows yourself to like feel that negative thought for a second and then reframe it. So I think that was a good call out. Anything else you want to add about tapping?
I think that was good.
That's a good episode. I hope you guys benefited from it.
Hope this helped y'all.
Yep. Bye, beauties.
Bye, beauties.
Boxland Media. Think big.